So, but I believe we have indeed taken note of that one.
One thing that I know for sure is that conflict is something that is constant in marriage, and there is no marriage without conflict. Even from the presentation we had this morning, we saw that the wife of the Prophet Sallam, the marriage of the Prophet to his wife had some element of conflict, to the extent that even in Surah Al-Tahrim, Allah had to mention that if the wives of the Prophet are not careful, he will direct that he should divorce all of them and he will replace them. So conflict is constant in marriage. So how do we now approach conflict? It's a totally different ballgame. The very strong advice for those who are yet to go into marriage is that you must have a way that you want to resolve your conflicts. For example, it's always good to have both of you agreeing to a third party. Who should we discuss our conflict with? And you choose somebody. We saw this example in the life of Muhammad Sallam when he was discussing with Aisha that who should we call to come and help us resolve this matter. And at the end of the day, Aisha had to, concede that, okay, yes, let Abu Bakr be the one to come and intervene. So when you have this ahead, it makes it very easy for you to resolve conflict that you cannot handle on your own. Let me also emphasize that conflicts are best resolved within the marriage before the third party. It's only when you cannot resolve within yourself that you get a third party. Now, in trying to resolve conflict within yourself, I want to mention some few points. Number one is that you must, at the point of conflicts, remain calm and composed. Don't become a crazy, mad person out of a conflict. No, be composed and remain calm. Try to control your emotion and approach the situation with very clear mind. In Quran 4, verse 19, we have 3 of these lessons there. Also, in the same Quranic verse, we have to communicate effectively. How do you communicate your conflict? How do you identify the real source of conflict? Now, you can't be talking and crying at the same time. No, if you want to cry, it's fine, you can cry. Wipe your tears and communicate clearly what you think is the cause of the conflict and what is the impact of the conflict. We are not only talking about the conflict, we are also talking about the impact of the conflict on you or on any other party. And during the process of resolving your conflict, talking about your conflict, you must avoid anger and aggression. This is also clearly stated in Quran 4, verse 19. And if you need to apologize, you apologize. If you need to seek forgiveness from Allah, you seek forgiveness from Allah. Quran 4, verse 19 also emphasizes this, that at a point in time that you now wish, okay, you have seen what the problem is. Whoever that needs to seek forgiveness, you seek forgiveness. Whoever that needs to apologize, should apologize. However, if these issues are now beyond the two of you, you can't handle it again, then it is best that you seek a third party to help you to intervene intervene in the matter. And please avoid, gaslighting, avoid stonewalling, avoid what do you say? When you give silent attitude, there's an issue, you're not talking about it, you just say, just forget it, and you want to move on. We have to remember that conflict resolution in Islam emphasizes mutual respect. It emphasizes mutual understanding and mercy. And if you follow some of these steps that I've enumerated, I think it's going to help us to be able to resolve our conflict within ourselves, and also when we have to contact an external person that we both agree to. Wallahu alam.
Sir. Time is fast spent. I think at this point in time, we have some more questions. These questions are a result of what men are, going through in their marriages, what we have observed about various marriages and all. However, due to paucity of time, we won't be able to take all. I think at this point in time, I would love that our respected panelists do give us a closing remark of 2 minutes each, so that we can proceed to the next session. I want to stress that those other questions that we're able to take at this point, or even those that we may not be able to take when we raise our hands to ask questions, the platform that has been created will be explored to give responses to some of these questions. So we may have recorded answers to some of these questions that will be shared to those platforms, or some text response that will be shared to that platform as well. So let us be rest assured that MSCI will walk through ensuring all questions that have been asked yesterday, the ones that we have not covered now, and even the ones that we may have in our mind that probably the time will not allow us to take, we will definitely provide answers to them as time goes by, in the nearest days after this session. We do not intend to have ourselves kept in this session for a long time. You know, it's a virtual session, and oftentimes the shorter the better. Okay, so I think at this point, I would love that our panelists give a closing remark. I would love to start with Dr. Sanusi Lafiaji at this time to give his closing remark of about 2 minutes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah alladhi bi ni'matihi tatimmu salihat. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the success of this webinar. I pray that it impact positively on our marriages and make us better husbands. Let us always have it at the back of our mind that Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kafa bil mari ithman an yudayya man yaqut." It is enough a sin for a man to abandon the responsibilities of people who are dependent on him, people who is in charge of their life and affairs, and these include our wives and our children. So let us take our responsibilities very seriously and understand that on the day of judgment, everyone will give an account for his actions separately. Because my wife was recalcitrant, disobedient to me, that is why I abandoned feeding and clothing her. That is not the right thing. On the day of judgment, the wife would be called to account why she was recalcitrant. The husband will also be asked to answer why he abandoned his responsibility, and his excuse that because the wife was stubborn would not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So while we continue to do our responsibilities and even demand for our rights, let us also at the back of our mind know that this is an act of worship. We must fear Allah in all that we do. And as for those of us who have more than one wife, then we must understand again that on the day of judgment, injustice to any of the wives would automatically make us to be paralyzed in a part of our body. The Prophet also said this. So let us be considerate. Let us be merciful to our women. We know women are prone to unnecessary aggressions. They call it mood swing, but then this is their nature. We must try to understand it. We must try to manage it. We must try to accommodate it, even while preaching to them to also fear Allah regarding our affairs. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all our homes. Wa sallallahu sallam ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.
Jazakumullah khairan, sir, for your closing remark. I would love to invite Honorable Justice Abdurrahim Ahmad Sahib to please give us his 2 minutes closing remark. Yes, sir.
Alhamdulillah. I pray that Allah accepts this as a deed that would earn us very handsome reward with him, inshallah. I'll only like to further emphasize the fact that our brothers in particular so also our sisters too should please know that our marriage should be seen as something very delicate. Our marriages, we should know that these marriages are pivotal in very clear terms to determining what our fate can be, not only in this world, but also in the hereafter. Something that earns us the chance, to fulfill as much as a whole half of our faith should not be taken with levity. I can say categorically that whoever fails in his matrimony is likely to also have failed as well before Allah. He may not even make it out, because scoring 0/50 or a very negligible mark over 50, is somehow. So our marriages transcend. Let that be very, clear to us. Let's bring this to our consciousness, that our marriages do not end here. That our marriages are not only about what we do here, but it transcends the life here. It also extends as well to the life hereafter. And many Muslims at the end of the day will not make the Jannah, not only because they are not good in prayer, not because they are not good in devotional acts, but simply because they've not been good enough in discharging their marital responsibilities. A responsibility which is so important that Allah speaks of it. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ. Fear Allah regarding your marital obligations, and know ye that you shall meet me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What Allah is reminding you of now is the event of standing before Him to give account of how well you have husbanded your wife or wives. And this time around, the account is not about your salah, about those things that may matter with you. وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّكُمْ مُلَاقُوهُ. In the specific context of this verse, you are remembered to know that you are going to meet Allah, and you shall be called to account regarding these things. I would also add that perhaps what I've also been able to identify in the root of this is that we need to also invest in our character generally. I want to believe that if we all have refined characters, refined qualities of an ideal man, we are most likely going to be, and the chances are high. So most of these problems we are having about men, sorry to say, if I can just cite this as an example. I have a case at hand now. A man married a sister. They were introduced to each other. He declared that he was interested in the marriage. Akdu was conducted. He consummated the marriage, being the one who had deflowered the woman, only for him to put up attitude and now start saying that the lady is too skinny, that he doesn't find her attractive. This you saw even before going ahead. So what would we say about this except an issue of bankruptcy in character? Many men are into marriages that they are not worthy of being entrusted with a woman. And I think this is very important. So I want to challenge all of us, including myself. Let us invest in sterling qualities of a Muslim, chiefly among which is sabr. You are not a Muslim if you are not invested enough in your level of patience, endurance, tolerance, and then especially of others. If you are not good, at coping with people excesses, your Islam is even questionable. This can be founded or fortified in this position by a number of verses. In fact, many in the Quran. You are not a Muslim if you are not merciful. Allah, our Lord, is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu was described as Bil Mu'minina Ra'ufur Rahim. You have men in marriages who are heartless. And this as well primarily is incompatible with Islam. Egocentrism is a product of lack of enough humility. Whoever as a Muslim if a Muslim has an atom weight of arrogance in his heart, it is clear on the strength of the hadith that Allah makes the Jannah prohibited for him. What makes you feel slighted is because you are not humble enough. Who are you that your wife cannot trample upon you? It is your wife that should be able to, exceed all limits, transgress all, even things that outsiders cannot do with you. Your wife, with whom you have been intimate, should be able to. But when you want to live like a king or like a lion in your house, that's not compatible. Muslims are adillah ala al-mu'minin. With even among ourselves, many of our brothers have the problem, excessive feeling of entitlement. And that's also an issue, overdwelling on rights. In Islam, you are programmed to be givers. You are programmed to be responsible. Even at the elementary stage of learning Islam, the first thing you learn is man huwa al-mukallaf. May Allah reward our fathers in Yoruba land. To translate this, they will tell us that is learning this kawaidul. You want to start, the first step, the first stride into Islamic scholarship. Those are the things you learn. A mukallaf means a religiously responsible people. Even in usul al-fiqh, what you are taught is hukum al-wadi'i, hukum al-taklifi, which all revolves around duties and responsibilities. So that also should be emphasized. Many husbands are over expectant from their wives, rather than concentrate on what we need to do as a man to prepare them and make them good for us. I want to just conclude that whatever we have from our women, in most cases, I think they are things that we've by our own hands created. So every man should try to invest in his woman and condition her in the same way and manner he wants to have her. So whatever you have in her, I'm saying to the extent of 90%, I want to leave the rest 10% to other factors. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all ideal husbands so that we can be the best of believers. خيركم خيركم لأهله وأنا خيركم لأهلي. I pray and hope that we all make the Jannah. May Allah forgive and overlook all our shortcomings in other areas of ibadat with him. But at least let's make the Jannah through our homes. If that can be our determination, I think most homes, inshallah, will turn better. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khairan for that wonderful closing remark. Indeed, I think a major highlight of this Best of Men, this session, is the fact that there's a new dimension or a much more explanatory dimension to understanding the verse. So let us bear in mind that it is more like garbage in, garbage out. If you don't put in appropriate effort to get your wife prepared, to get a mind set for you, then you probably will not get anything out of your marriage or out of your relationship. Thank you very much, sir. I think we'll move on. Before I take Dr. Sulaiman Ogumiwa's closing remark, it's a very important comment in the chat room that my attention has been called to regarding the presentation by Dr. Sanusi Lapiaji yesterday. I would love that to quickly respond to this. Hopefully he's still on the call. So this person is saying that I fear that I may have misunderstood a serial reference by Dr. Lapiaji yesterday about Rasulullah's response to one of his wives calling another a Jew. Did he, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, not talk about the issue for 2 months, or if he grudged the wife for 2 months? Dr. Sanis Lapiaji, you're still on the call. Can you please take a moment to quickly respond to this? I'm not sure I can see.
He's not on the call.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know if Justice is able to say something about that, sir, at this point in time. Okay, probably think he also got busy. So we'll just take the closing remark. Please, the questioner should note that we have taken note of that question, and we will try to reach out to you and get your doubts cleared, inshallah. Rashid or Tegola. So the MSCI team should please note So Dr. Sulaiman Ogumiwasa, we'd love to hear from you. And if you also have anything to say, you were also at the session yesterday, sir. Perhaps you have one or two things to say about that question, to be great. We would love to have your closing remark at this time, sir.
Thank you so very much, AQ. I must say that the 2-day session has exposed us to the fact that marriage is huge. Marriage is something that is very big, and marriage requires a lot of learning. You cannot say that because you are married, you know it all. We have to keep learning and learning and learning. And I want to assure you that this learning will continue by God's grace. I'm going to round off by appealing that we increase in our mercy. And I'm trying to be a bit sentimental about this, because once somebody came to Umar Radiallahu Anhu and said, I find no more tranquility in my wife, neither do I find love in her. And the last thing Umar asked is, so if you can't find these two, don't you also have mercy in your heart for her? So mercy is a very vital element in our marriage. Let us try as much as possible to show mercy towards our spouse. Let us try to be understanding. Let us try to be forgiving when they make their mistakes. Let us try to be compassionate and empathetic at a time when they are trying to struggle out with things. Let us cover each other's faults with kindness. Let us cover each other's weaknesses with grace. Let us show a lot of mercy towards ourselves. And don't let us be selfish by putting our needs before theirs. Let us put their needs before our own, because we'll get our ultimate reward with Allah. And let us extend our patience and understanding in very difficult moments with them. We should remember that showing mercy is a fundamental teaching in Islam. And practicing it in our marriages will bring peace, will bring harmony, and will give strength to our relationship. It is my prayer that Allah will continue to guide all of us, in His mercy, and also help us to build a beautiful, loving, and supportive relationship with our spouses. I want to assure you that in about 2 months, we'll have the opportunity to gather again and look at another theme and learn from one another, and also try to be the best of men that we can in our marriages, following the footpath of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was bold enough to say, I am the best amongst you towards my family. And I hope we'll also be able to beat our chests and say, oh Allah, I did my best to be the best of man to my wife and my children. جزاكم الله خير. إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى رب السبيل. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا. That would be all from for the panel session. We appreciate our panelists, and we wish them well, and wish them the best as they go about their other planned activities for the day. At this point in time, we'll be moving on to the breakout session, and I'll be inviting Abdul Basit to please handle this session within the next 15 minutes before we come back and prepare to take live calls and close out to this session. We are intending to round off marks by 10:45 a.m. Inshallah for today. So Abbas, if you have the floor, please.
All right, now Jazakumullah khairan. Big thanks to our panelists and to our participants for their cooperation so far. So we'll be having breakout session now. We would break out into different rooms, and we'll be discussing based on our rooms. So we have 5 rooms that will be available and 5 breakout discussion topic. So whichever room you find yourself, you would discuss the topic that is for your room. So for room 1, you'll be discussing what is the impact technology is having on our marriage, as you can see on our screen, on our relationships, and how can we best manage it. For room 2, we'll be discussing what are the ways we can appreciate our partners in marriage. Room 3, how should you overcome challenges related to finances and develop healthy financial habits in your marriage? Room 4, what are the strategies to maintain intimacy and romance in a marriage? Room 5, how should work stress be managed and time made for each other and the family? Each other and the family. So we'll be breaking out to those rooms now. When we get to those rooms, we should appoint a leader for each of our rooms. Someone should just volunteer to take charge of the group, and you engage in the discussion based on the topic, and just engage in the discussion. Then at the end of the discussion, the room will be open for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, we converge here, and the leader of each group would come and present, the discussions, their conclusions from their group to the whole platform in 2 minutes. So we'll be going to our rooms now, inshallah. So we have 22 people per room. Just when you get to your room, appoint a leader or let someone volunteer to lead and start the discussion immediately. Thank you. So our rooms are now live. You would see them on your screen now. Just click on join and you join those rooms. In your rooms now. Just click on your screen. So if you are just joining, we are currently going to breakout rooms. Kindly go and join your rooms now. And I believe we all have the topics for discussion in our various rooms. We can see the topic on the screen. I would also try to send it as a podcast to each of the rooms. So if you're in room 1, you pick your topic and you start attending to it. There are still some people that are yet to join their rooms. Please kindly just check your screen. You see a notification for you to join your room. Kindly join those rooms. So if you are just joining, we are currently going to breakout rooms. Kindly go and join your rooms now. And I believe we all have the topics for discussion in our various rooms. We can see the topic on the screen. I would also try to send it as a podcast to each of the rooms. So if you're in room one, you pick your topic and you start attending to it. Still some people that are yet to join their rooms. Please kindly just check your screen. You see a notification for you to join your room. Kindly join those rooms. Right. I believe everybody is returning back to this main platform already. So thank you all for the insightful discussion in each of those rooms. I tried to join a couple of them, and I think I enjoyed the coordination, and really thank you for that. So while we're expecting the rest to join back, the main session, we'll be having a presentation from each of those groups, each of those rooms. So room one would just each of those rooms have maximum of 2 minutes to tell us their conclusion, what they've arrived at from their discussions, and they will share that with us in just 2 minutes. So room one, room two, if you are the representative of those rooms, room one to five, kindly raise your hand so that we can call you to give your presentation. We need to do this real quick. So kindly raise your hand and we'll call you. When we call you, tell us the room you'll be representing and your topic. Then you go ahead to give your presentation. So we have two hands here already. That means we have two rooms ready to present. So I'll start with Saifullah. Please kindly unmute yourself. Tell us the room you are representing and go ahead and make your presentation in 2 minutes.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. My name is Saifullah Kargana. I'm representing room 4. Our topic was strategies for maintaining intimacy and romance in the family. So we came up with 10 points, which would invariably, inshallah, help in reviving and maintaining romance and intimacy in family life. So number one is by being merciful and showing empathy, being empathic towards our spouses. This will endear us to them and thereby improving intimacy. Number two, establishing effective communication with our spouses. This would help in clearing up issues easily and therefore also give the required results. Third is having good listening ears to the concerns by our spouses as it relates to intimacy and other issues too. Number four, eating meals together. This would help create the bonding required during intimacy. Number five, increase physical touch, physical non-sexual touches. This would also help. Number six, trying to connect emotionally with spouses. Number seven, to endeavor to try to have shared interests and hobbies. This also aims towards establishing or increasing the bonding together, which will invariably help with intimacy. Number eight, exchanging gifts. Number nine, having discussions or fantasies about intimacy. And lastly, respecting our spouses' relatives. This would endear us to them and help us with maintaining intimacy in the family. These are our 10 points. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Saifullah, for that beautiful submission. We'll be going to Abdul Fattah. So please, the rest of the group leaders, kindly raise your hand with through the Zoom platform on your screen. You'll see where to raise your hand, not in the chat box. Just raise your hand to the Zoom function and we'll ask you to unmute. So Abdul Fattah, over to you.
Now, Assalamu alaikum to everyone. My name is Abdul Fattah Lawal. I will be sharing the highlights of our discussions from Group 5. So our topic was pretty much how should work stress be managed and time made for each other and the family. So at the very first, firstly speaking, what?
No, yeah, please.
Okay, so we have for work stress. So at the very least, your spouse should understand what your job is and what are the requirements. If it's something that would significantly take your time and attention, it's something that you both have to be on the same table on. So firstly, explain what your job and the requirements is for your wife. And also if there's any way she can step in to assist, then that should also be discussed. Secondly, there should be clear boundaries. So work should be work and family should be family. So in as much as you would not transfer your frustrations from home to your work, you should also not do that from work to home. And you should strive to, as some of our speakers described yesterday, you should strive to be present, or absent, present at the very least. Then clear priority also matters. You should know what you want and make efforts towards it. Then with regards to time management and creating time for each other, so one of our participants gave a specific example that at the very least during Fajr, you can use that time opportunity to spend time in prayers and also after prayers with your spouse. And considering that not every family would have their dynamics and also location matters, you should know what works for your family and you should build on that. So as much as possible, know what works for your family, be intentional about it, and also quality over quantity. How best are you making of the little time you have together? You should make the most of it. And lastly, be spontaneous. You do not have to plan everything to the letter. Always chip in little acts of surprises and the likes. And the very, very last, communication is paramount. Spend time together and communicate as much as possible. That's it.
Thank you very much, Abdul Fattah, for that beautiful submission. I would go to Yakub Ajin Fuja now. Kindly unmute yourself and you have the floor.
All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Jazakumullah khairan. So from the group, we have opinions and perceptions that have been said by the participants. So we have one. The topic is that we should say the impact of technology on marriages, or how has technology impacted marriages in our society. So um, we agree that there are the positive sides of the um, technology on society, and that there are also negative sides of the technology in the society. So the positive parts that we agreed on is that one, it brought about flexibility in activities, um, for the kind of activities that we engage in, physical activities, as well as the um, social media and internet also. That is the simplification of activities such as house chores, like the use of blenders, the use of machines, washing machines, and things that simplifies activities that would have otherwise been difficult to do for our wives and for everyone in the house as well. So it simplifies activities or chores in the house, which enables good um, home or family. Now, secondly, is that it gives room for access to information that there are things that we would have not had access to knowing if there was no technology. One of such is this program that is being held that brings about a lot of people from different locations in one room and being able to share knowledge that will be beneficial for us in upbringing very good home. That's a plus for marriage as well. So another advantage that we said is that it makes communication easy, just like I said now, that it enables good form of information. It makes information easy, and when you have access to information, it makes communication what easy. So in the instance of marriage between couples, now you are able to reach out to yourselves in due time to pass necessary information that you need to get across to yourselves in due time, and that enables strong bond in marriages in our society. Um, Moving quickly, it also makes it easy for us to have the ability to do a lot of things within a short period of time. Take, for instance, our work schedules. There are some of us that work from home. There are some of us that can link or access our workspace anywhere we are, regardless, as long as we are able to access the internet or um, have our gadgets with us around. So it makes it easier for us to do a lot of these activities without having to go physically to offices or markets or other places of endeavors. So it makes it easier for us. And that also impacts the marriage in the society, in that we are able to, for instance, the being at home, you can still have a kind of look at some things that have to do with the home while you are working in the home. So it makes it easier for us, and that strengthens our marriages as well. Now, for the other parts that we said could be negative is that the sometimes, because of the access to internet and um, the social media or technology, the people tend to get some things wrongly because they have gone to wrong sites or listen to wrong information that are being passed without them having a proper guide to go about all the use of these things, which they then bring back to the home and start exhibiting as things that they've learned from the internet, and then that impacts their marriages negatively. So that's one of the things, that wrong information can be gotten through the internet, and that's as a result of the technology that we have in society. So those are the little things that we were able to do within the short space of time that was allocated to us. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much for that great insight. So we still have about another group here to present. Please, Atobatele Abdulkadir, can you go ahead? Please, just we have
Assalamu
1 minute.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Wa
Yeah,
salam.
alaikum assalam.
yeah. From our own hand, we don't really have much, but the topic is how to appreciate our spouse and make them to be better people. So from our own end, we concluded that through verbal affections, spending quality time with them, taking time to provide leadership or advice at home. Also, we agreed that as we most people that have a full life housewife that take time to do the house girls day in day out, sometimes it becomes boring for them, and it's even advisable to give them opportunity to take time out and relax and not do anything, because such action will motivate them to feel loved and to be better spouse. Also, we discussed about giving pet name or reserved names for our wives on occasions that we feel maybe they are a little bit down, to encourage them. You know, ladies love things like that. When on occasions like that, you just call them names you really call them, and they feel the affections from their hand. Also, we talk about communication, which is key in marriages. And like one of the speakers said yesterday, ladies love to have their husband talking to them most times, whether it's gossip from their workplace or gossip from their friends. So it's just to show that you're having attention for them. Also, we talk about being a spouse that always listen to them. It's not every time they talk and you rest. Sometimes you sit with them and take the side of the story they are trying to tell you, whether it's acceptable or not. You just accept it and move on, so that sometimes you have a win-win situation. Just like one of the speakers said during the time of the prophet, when the wife was saying,
Sorry, can you round up,
"Oh,
please? Can you round up in the next 5
okay,
seconds, please?
okay, all right." So thank you. That is what we have from our own end. Thank you.
So much appreciate that. So are you back?
Yeah, this Bismillah. So I'll be presenting for group 3, which is how should you overcome challenges related to finances and develop healthy financial habits in your marriage. Yeah, so some of the things we discussed one, we should be able to differentiate between our wants and needs. This will enable us to avoid unnecessary spending. Then also, we have to be more productive in our work. For instance, some of us who are teachers, so even you are working, there are some sites where they employ teachers as home tutors. So this will enable you to have more financial income, like taking a part-time home lesson, home tutors. So this will bring more income to the family. Then also, one of the things also is planning expenses with our spouse. This can be monthly, quarterly, or yearly, like there. So this is this amount we are spending monthly. So how do you allocate them? So which one should go for feeding? Which one should go for grocery? Which one should go for school fees? So with this, our wife knows our expenses and she knows how we are spending it. So we can be able to plan financially, and this will enable us to have a good flow of our money. Then also, some of us who have some personal things like cars. So I think on weekend, also or after the work, so we can also use them as Uber or use them for many transport in between the city. So on the weekend, and also another thing is some of us who are working, we can actually take extra shifts just to make sure that we have enough money to cater for the family. So it's just about like growing the income and spending it necessarily where we ought to spend it. I think with this, we'll be able to overcome our financial challenges at home.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We do really appreciate that. We appreciate everyone for your discussion, for the insight from the discussions, and like I've said earlier, would love that you share your key lessons on the group chat when after the event, after the session. Thank you very much. I would hand over back to Mr. Kosim Akinaton to take over from here. AQ, are you there?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful session. I believe all had wonderful deliberations in our various rooms, and it is on us to explore all of the opportunities and all of the lessons that the opportunity of this session has afforded us since yesterday, and let us begin to change the narratives in our marriages. Let us begin to have less complaints about men. Let us begin to have a beautiful investing homes, happy homes, and a very fulfilling marriage. Thank you very much. I think at this point we'll be moving to close out this session. I think we'll be having a poll within the next 2 minutes, and after the poll, we will have a closing remark by the Olaleko on behalf of the COO as we prepare to call it a day. Basit, are you going to put up the poll, please? Basit, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I think I would give a closing remark on behalf of the
Okay.
COO. So want to thank you very much for subscribing to this idea to uplift ourselves as men to be best of men. And we really want to thank you all for participating in the event. And like Dr. Sulaiman Ogumiloro said earlier, this is just the beginning, because we want to create a safe space for men to, discuss issues like this that would make them better husband or better spouse, and eventually facilitate them earning the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want to also use this medium to thank our speakers, our invited guests, for their efforts, despite unforeseen circumstances and their health issues. They still made time to join us for this event. We really want to thank them, and we pray Allah Subhanahu wa Taala reward them all abundantly. Finally, MSCI is a marriage and education consulting firm that deals in marital counseling, premarital counseling, among other things. And our doors are open 247 for counseling sessions. If you think you need you need the service of a professional counselor, we have our counselors with over 2 decades of experience at M Solution Consulting International Limited. So we want you to come around and seek our services. And also the group chats would still be open for now, for the next month, and we'll be dropping challenges like the one we did yesterday. We'll be dropping challenges for you to do with your spouse, and to just continue to help you spice your marriage. And also your questions, we shall be answering them on the group chat. The previous one, the ones we take from yesterday, and others that I've seen on the chat box today, would try as much as possible to answer them on the group chat, and as well as other scheduled activities that we have planned to hold on the group chat. And you need to stay around to watch out for the second edition of Best of Men, and we really hope to have you there again. And before we go, I would also be sharing my screen out for the final challenge. Of course, this challenge, you don't need to come to give us feedback. We want you to just do it within you and us, and whatever you get from it, you just keep your feedback, and just make sure you continue all of these acts of service, good things that would help you spice your marriage. So we want to thank you once again for your efforts, your time, and your engagement, right, throughout these sessions. Thank you so much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all abundantly. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among the best of men and put everlasting joy and happiness in our marriages. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.